Hi, everyone. Today we have Meg Wilson, one of our talented sales executives, chatting with Heather Schwetz, the Superintendent of Human Resources and Privacy Officer from the Northeast School Division in Saskatchewan. They'll be chatting about the top 5 reasons that you picked Sparkrock 365. So with that, I will turn my camera off and leave it to you two to get chatting. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you very much, Jane, and thank you, Heather. Really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to join us here today. You and I had a great opportunity a few weeks ago to have a discussion around why you chose Sparkrock. I really wanted to understand what was important to your school board, and I just found your insightful comments really helpful, not only to me, but I think to a lot of the individuals, K-12s that I speak to. So thanks for agreeing to join us here today. So Heather, what I'd really love to hear from you is, first of all, a little bit about your procurement process, what you went through in order to select a new ERP. And then we can drill into specifically the top 5 reasons you chose Sparkrock. So let's start off with procurement. Can you just explain a little bit about your process?
Sure, Meg. So what we did in last summer at this point, and what we did is we went through a request for proposal process. So we did put an RFP out last summer looking for a new human resources payroll system as well as a finance system. So we're looking at upgrading all 3. And we made our decision, I guess, last fall after going through a normal RFP process, meeting with vendors, doing presentations, and we selected Sparkrock as the option for us this year, or to start this year.
And we're certainly excited to have you as part of the of our customer family, that's for sure. And where are you now in the process?
So we have started our we've done our key user training, done some analysis, and we're into the user acceptance phase. So just starting that up and looking forward to digging into the system, trying out different scripts and scenarios to find out what's going to work, and really excited. It's becoming more of a reality for us every day. So the group is very excited about this opportunity.
Great. So let's talk about some of your top 5. I know one of the things that you said to me that I thought was really interesting was the Microsoft platform specifically. Can you tell us what was important around that?
Sure. So our school division last year transitioned to Office 365 as a whole. So we're doing all of our work through it, and we found that Sparkrock was one of the tools that is an Office 365 product. So definitely that integration was important and key to us. And I want to say cutting edge technology, but it's definitely on the new side of things. So we definitely like to be a part of that. We were on a more of a mainframe system prior to that, so we knew we needed to upgrade to something, and this was a significant and positive change for us, and it allowed our IT department to feel comfortable from the security side of things, because they were already familiar with transitioning to Office 365. They like the dual authenticity from a security standpoint. So just a lot of positives that led us down the direction on that Microsoft platform side of things.
Right. Yeah, I remember you saying that the Microsoft User Authenticator was a big thing because people are familiar with that. So the fact that all works together was important. And I'm certainly hearing more and more from the individuals I speak to, superintendents like yourself, that security is huge. And, Microsoft invests $1 to $1.5 billion a year in cybersecurity. So there's definitely a sense of comfort in that respect. And then I also seem to recall that one of the things you found interesting and that you've leveraged is also the fact that there's apps in the App Store.
Absolutely. We really like that from an option standpoint. We're a school division that's quite spread out. People aren't always easily accessible to a computer. So the fact that there was you can use an app on your phone, app on an iPad was really attractive to us. And your My Sparkrock tool, when we looked at it, we really loved it. We love the employee self-service, significant jump from what we had currently, as well as the manager's self-service. So just some great tools, some easy to use, very intuitive items when we went through it, and really kind of a good selling feature for us.
Great. Well, that's certainly nice to hear. And I'm sure as we've gone through this really unprecedented time, knowing that you have those tools that will support everyone anywhere they are is probably, you're feeling like you were way ahead of the curve when you made this choice.
For sure. Absolutely. It was a good choice. Never have to look back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then one of the other things we talked about was the interface, and you've kind of touched on it. So you've touched on my Sparkrock, but what about the look and feel and ease of use?
Yeah, no, what we also really liked about that ease of use component was that, as I mentioned before, finance is also doing an upgrade and moving to my Sparkrock. So it actually looks like a fairly easy interface between a person accessing their financial stuff and their HR and payroll stuff. So really intuitive tools that blend together nicely, which we liked. And just looking the way the tiles are set up in your Office 365 environment, it's easy to navigate. That's one thing that we were really impressed with is the ability to be able to find what you're looking for just by navigating some of the tiles. So great tool from there. And being intuitive is really important because it's a time saver. Like if you can easily look and find something versus having to search for 10 or 15 minutes, which sometimes happens, and tools that maybe aren't as intuitive. So
right, exactly. So Heather, one of the things you also mentioned was time and attendance was really important to you. Can you explain why and how you're going to be using it and with what user groups?
Sure. So you are right that time and attendance piece is really key for us. We'll be using it with our caretaking staff, our bus drivers, and our division office staff. And it gives us that ability to where in the past we did things manually, filled out forms, faxed things around, or scanned. Now everything can go electronically through the system. So reduces touch points, reduces the likelihood of error of us not getting a sheet in time or not seeing a sheet or someone forgetting to fill that out because it'll all have to go through the system, which is really exciting for us. And we also think we've actually changed our process so that we're doing a little bit less time carding and just doing the exception rules for overtime, extra hours, shift differential, that kind of thing. So it'll really, I think, simplify our work for our managers and for HR, and it increases our accuracy. So we're really excited. And as I mentioned, with the apps on your phone and iPad, it can be done easily, approved anywhere. So it's really a neat tool, and we're really excited to use it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great feedback, and I look forward to hearing how that rolls out and the feedback from the different users of those apps. I'm sure they're pretty excited about having that flexibility. So one of the other things I know that is important to everyone I'm talking to these days, and that is the whole value around moving to software as a service and what that means with respect to upgrades and updates. Can you touch on I know that was important for you, so can you elaborate on that piece in particular?
For sure. One thing that was quite attractive to us about Sparkrock and the Office 365 environment is avoiding having to go through big upgrades. On the system we were on previously, we were in that mode. We would have had to gone through a massive upgrade just because it had been such a long time since there had been any improvements to the system. We're going to this Office 365 environment. We're going to be getting regular updates as part of the process and upgrades that happen just as improvements occur, which is a time saver, which is a money saver. There's just so many positives to that. And then you're just continuing in upgrade mode versus wondering when your next 6, 8, 9 month project is going to be to get you onto an upgraded system. So really another big positive for us.
Great. Well, I have certainly last but not least, the other item we talked about was integration and workflow and the ability to automate that and all the pieces being connected. Can you elaborate on why that was important to you specifically?
For sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, when we decided to upgrade our system, this is HR, payroll, and finance all together. So, we wanted to make sure that it was a system that worked for everybody, and we're lucky to find one that did and that met everybody's requirements. And from an HR side of things, we use a couple of other external applications for applicant tracking and for our call out system for our substitute teachers. And we're just working through that automation process right now. Previously, we either didn't have any kind of integration or it was a manual integration, which was very labor intensive for us. So we're right now working with Sparkrock and our third party to do some automation to do those uploads back and forth, which is a time saver for us and something that's really a positive improvement that we were happy to have.
Yeah. I mean, having again a modern system with those APIs is definitely a pretty critical item on people's list. And I know for the school boards we've worked with across the country that we've integrated with. There's a couple of main systems out there we tend to see over and over again. So we've had those integrations running for quite some time. Well, Heather, I really appreciate your feedback. It's very insightful. And I think many others are going to enjoy getting your perspective on what was important to an HR superintendent. And, I'd love to just sort of summarize these for the group. So Heather's top 5, as we talked about, certainly the Microsoft platform, and how that's going to drive productivity within the organization. One of the biggest items I'm hearing, this year in particular is security. The interface, it's intuitive, it's easy to use. The time and attendance piece, being able to track attendance for custodial staff and bus staff, the regular updates versus labor-intensive upgrades, and certainly last but not least, the fact that Sparkrock is one integrated database, integrated all the way through, right from its development, with modern tools that allow you to connect to other applications that are important within a school board environment. Well, again, thank you so much, Heather. Really appreciate your time, and you have a great day.
Thank you, Meg. You too. Take care.